Do audiophiles listen on laptop and phone speakers? So I asked a question in a recent video. What problem do you hear in this recording? If you haven't watched the video yet, maybe you should, and there's a link in the description. Do that now. The title of the video is, If You Can't Hear This, Then You're Not an Audiophile. You've watched it. You haven't watched it? OK, I'll tell you. It was a recording of solo clarinet and orchestra, where the clarinet was jumping about like a lunatic frog, sometimes left, sometimes right, sometimes briefly in the centre of the stereo image, where it should be, and random notes were individually popping out from different directions. In my humble opinion, this is a problem. I go to concerts and I try to get as close to the front as I can. This is not what a listener, even in the front row to concert, would hear. If the soloist moves, then you hear some movement. But the movement in this recording is huge and wild. To me, this is a problem, but let me be as gracious as I can and say that it's merely an issue. Some of my viewers liked it, and if they genuinely do like it and don't mind that it's not realistic, well, good luck to them. But that's not the issue I want to cover today. My question is whether audiophiles listen on laptop and phone speakers. Of course they don't. That would be a ridiculous contradiction. Audiophiles listen on speakers like this, and these, and these, and these. And as we know, all true audiophiles are somehow rich enough to afford this kind of equipment and will willingly pay more than $1,000, for example, for a simple 1 meter interconnect. But before I get to my issue, there's something I do need to say, because I would be disrespecting my viewers otherwise. It's a kind of what's the elephant in the room thing. A lot of viewers who are keen audio enthusiasts didn't notice the movement of the clarinet, the wild, irregular, crazy jumping frog movement. That's because they were listening for some deeper kind of problem. And in some cases, they did find things that were not to their liking, irrespective of the movement. They noticed clicks, which were possibly the keys of the instrument. They noticed distortion, which might have been the actual sound of the instrument, clarinets having harmonics and stuff. They noticed other things too. This is all fine. It's critical listening, and any audio engineer or audio enthusiast is absolutely entitled to their subjective judgments. None of this is wrong. The movement is the elephant, but of course there are other animals in the jungle, and there may be other issues in any recording. The thing here, though, as several viewers questioned, is that this isn't the pure, perfect sound of the CD or download release. The audio came to me from the BBC streaming service in AAC-LC coding, 48 kHz, 320 kilobits per second. This isn't a bad format, but it is lossy coding. I converted this to WAV for editing into my video. Then I uploaded my video to YouTube with the soundtrack as WAV, so there were no losses due to me. But of course there are further losses in YouTube's player, which encodes the audio again into a lossy format. YouTube's audio mangler, I like to call it. And what you hear may not be what everyone else hears. If you pay for YouTube Premium, you can get better quality audio. I'm not sure if this applies to all videos, but it might. And also, I'd be fairly confident that YouTube has the ability to adapt the bitrate to the device you're using and the quality of your internet connection. So, as I said, we may not all hear the same issues. The thing about my test, though, was that it was easy to hear. It wasn't some extra subtle effect that would struggle to get through all of this coding. But nonetheless, and my point is just about to arrive after all this preamble, some people didn't hear any issue at all. The movement, that crazy jumping frog, just passed them by, or jumped clean over their head. I'm going to cherry pick some interesting bits from the 1,149 comments as I speak on my video. I'll remind you that the title was, If You Can't Hear This, Then You're Not an Audiophile. I would have expected the word audiophile to indicate that the video would require some critical listening. Here's Debbie, my editorial assistant, to quote from some of the comments. This is her first appearance on my channel, by the way. Be nice.
Can anybody listening on their phone with a single speaker really hear anything audiophile? Most people watch YouTube like this. I don't consider myself an audiophile, and I didn't notice this, but that is probably because I was listening on laptop speakers, haha. I was listening on my mobile phone. Maybe you should have mentioned some requirements before we listen. What I heard was the clarinet recorded, mixed too hot, but could be my crappy old laptop speakers. I listened to the clip on my laptop so the stereo effect was absent. It's a little hard to hear the spacing with laptop speakers. I listen to this on my phone, mono speaker. I first idly listened to this on my phone, oh dear, but I did at least tilt it to landscape to listen to the stereo field properly. My phone plays in mono, so you need to tell people to listen in stereo.
So, despite the keyword audiophile in the title, people were listening on laptop or phone speakers, sometimes in mono. One commenter, as you heard, had the wisdom to turn his stereophone sideways, so we can guess he's an audiophile on his day off. So clearly, I have to say without the remotest doubt in my mind that all of these people, with that one exception, are idiots. Well, I'd kind of like to say that, but I think it's more likely that the fact of the matter is that it's all my fault. I didn't anticipate what real-world people would actually do in the real world. It's a different real world to what I live in, but no less valid. So I think the question now is, what actually is an audiophile? How do we define the term? I think it should be considered axiomatic that an audiophile strives to enjoy the best quality sound reproduction. And if they can afford it, yes, they will indulge their interest with amazing equipment and amazing acoustic treatment to their listening room. That's another story. But there will be times when even the most purist of audiophiles has no option than to listen on suboptimal equipment. Or rather, the option is not to listen at all. So yes, an audiophile on the move may listen on their laptop or phone. But I have to add that headphones are essential. And I mean quality headphones, not a $30 pair from some unknown source via Amazon Prime or eBay earbuds. Maybe Apple AirPods, but I'll come to those at some future date. So my questions to you. Can only rich people become audiophiles? What do you need to enjoy an audiophile quality experience on the move? Can laptop or phone speakers ever be considered audiophile? See you soon.
If that Debbie thinks she's going to be number one around here, she's got another thing coming.